All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's July 4th. It is July 4th. Shout out to the Wrench Gang. Shout out to the family, all the listeners, all the watchers. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Before we get started, it's July 4th. If you are enjoying yourself, having a great day, make sure that you're safe out there. Make sure that you're vigilant, watchful on this beautiful day. Have your fun, but make sure that you and your family are good at the same time. It's some crazy people out there, so always be watchful. Don't drink and drive. Please don't drink and drive. I want all of you to be here for the football season. It's coming soon. It's coming soon. Let me get over to the chat as we get started here. Shout out to you, Purple in the building, Wrench Gang in the house. YBK, what up, man? What's going on with you? Shout out to you, Jacob. Jacob in the building, Marble Sky in the house. Purple says it's hot as hell outside. I haven't went outside yet. I have not went outside yet. I wanted to hop on, do this video with you guys, and then obviously get started with the festivities for today, July 4th. Happy July 4th to all of you who are going to be rocking with us today. And to the ones who are not, well, hey, hope you have a good 4th. YBK, I've been good, man. Listen, it's been a while. Some of you know that I was doing some construction in the basement, trying to get my office back together, so I have not been live. We are back now. The construction is finished. I'm super hype. I'm ready. I'm excited. Football season's on the way, so we got to break down some stuff. We got to talk about all these teams, all 32 teams. We're going to be cover them. We're doing it a little different. We've done this over the last 5 years. We're going to be doing it a little different now from how we've normally done it. I would cover each or every team, do one a day, and then obviously we do the last two on the last day. But because I just finished the construction, well, we're basically well into July, so I'm going to do it in divisions. We'll start off with the AFC East, and then we'll, of course, move on with each division and then cover 4 teams each day. So we'll do it like that, and then obviously I'll break up the clips for you guys, for the people who don't end up watching the stream so they can view those later. So there you go. Purple says I have two dogs, so I have to go outside. Shout out to you, Purple. Says good news, I'm going to be a father. Shout out to you, YBK. Congratulations. Fatherhood. Let's go. Man, that is it's something. I'll tell you that. It's something. A lot of work, a lot of money, a lot of patience. First and foremost, patience. That's gonna definitely help you out in fatherhood. Learn some patience. You're gonna need it for sure. Shout out to Sportsdom. Happy 4th to you as well. Wendy in the house. What up, Wendy? Shout out to the Wrench Gang. All right, y'all. So today we're gonna cover the Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and of course the Patriots. And we got a lot to cover, a lot to talk about as far as, for each team and all this good stuff. There is a big discrepancy as far as in this AFC East and, what it's going to take for the Bills to continue on and whether or not the Patriots are going to be able to do this and that, and Justin Fields going over to the Jets and maybe doing something over there, and him having Tyrod Taylor too. So there's a lot going on, and then we still have the conversation as far as the Dolphins, and could this be the year that Tua Tagovailoa actually gets it together and figures some things out, or could this be the year that Tua completely bombs and then we don't see Mike McDaniel anymore because they just weren't able to figure it out? I do think that McDaniel's on the hot seat with the Dolphins. We'll get into that shortly here. And there we go. Shout out to James Valley. Says happy 4th from Buffalo territory. Let's go. Shout out to you, James. Happy 4th. Scott Coley in the building. What up, Scott? Shout out to y'all holding it down on Facebook. Says Jay, been a minute, my guy. Good to see you back on. Good to see you too, Scott. Shout out to all of y'all. All right, let's go ahead and start with these Bills. Start with the Bills. First in the AFC East, we're gonna break down the depth chart first. Y'all know we break down the depth chart first before we get to the schedule. So this obviously will change. We know that it will change. We're super early, but we always do this in July before we get into preseason. So just take this with a grain of salt for right now, because some people, you'll hear about them now, but we probably won't see some of these guys when preseason comes. So obviously we know that Josh Allen isn't going anywhere. Mitch Trubisky is going to be in the second, Mike White on the third, and then Shane Bukele is fourth. As for your running backs for the Bills, you got James Cook, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, and Darrynton Evans. Now, as far as James Cook, I know there was a lot of talking as far as whether or not he was going to go or whether or not he was going to stay, because he didn't, he wasn't feeling like he was going to get paid the money he deserved. And I think this is going to be a great opportunity for James Cook to go out there and highlight and showcase what he's able to do out on the field, so that he can earn that pay and so he can get, what he's looking to get out there, from his talent and with his work ethic. I think he was tied for the most touchdowns last year as far as running back. So, I do think that he has some leverage. I do think that he can, show up when he needs to and get paid what he's worth. But I think he's got to give him one more season, one more good season to basically show this Bills team and of course the league that he is worth, what he's looking to get. So I think that it's good that he's not going anywhere. I think they have a great chemistry between him and Josh Allen. So yeah, he's not going anywhere. Ray Davis, we know that what he does, very strong in the backfield. Power runner, basically get you those, 3, 4, 5 yards, especially when they need it for a first down. So I like Ray Davis. He's also good with the hands. He can catch the ball. So yeah, I like that. Ty Johnson as well. I think you got a good core running back group with James Cook, Ray Davis, and Ty Johnson. So we'll see how they, come together this year as far as figuring out the mix and go from there. Shout out to Sassy. What's going on with you, Sassy, in the building? Sports says Patriots aren't winning the East or making the playoffs. Bills run the East. Vengerberg says Pats take the East this year. You heard it here first. All right, we see y'all talking. Shout out to you, Abram, over there on TikTok holding it down. As far as the wide receivers, we got Khalil Shakir, Elijah Moore, Caden Prather, and then Tyrell Shavers as your fourth. Then you got Keon Coleman starting, then Curtis Samuel, Jalen Virgil, and Christian Wilkerson. And then you've got starting Joshua Palmer now coming over from the Chargers, Laveska Chenault Jr., KJ Hamler, and then Kelly Acra. I can't even pronounce this. Maybe y'all can help me. Kelly Acrahai. I'm butchering that. I'm sorry. Then as far as your tight ends, we know we got Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, which is kind of crazy because I expected Dalton Kincaid to do much, much better than what we've been seeing. But I feel like he's got his feet wet. I feel like this is going to be the year where he does turn things around. But also we got the old reliable Dawson Knox, right? So he should, him and Dalton Kincaid should be able to figure things out. Then you got Jackson Hawes and Zach Davidson for the fourth. For your fullback, Reggie Gilliam, left tackles, Deion Dawkins, David Edwards, left guard, Connor McGovern, Osiris Torrance, and then Spencer Brown for your right tackle. Getting into the defense, Greg Russo, Daquan Jones, Ed Oliver, Joey Bosa. Let's talk about Joey Bosa for a minute. Now, the big issue for this pick, right? Or not even pick, basically trade. Everyone was looking at Joey Bosa to come in and be like, yes, that's going to be great. He's going to come over and really do some good for this defense. And then he gets injured. So, this is one of those things where I feel like the Bills are cursed when it comes to the defense and picking up these superstar or once superstar players because they always get injured. So, Joey Bosa, questionable. Matt Milano, obviously coming back from an injury. Terrell Bernard, Dorian Williams, Christian Benford, Taylor Rapp, DeMar Hamlin, who I'm still surprised the Bills keeping. We'll see how that goes. But then you obviously have Cole Bishop, Wade Owens on the third. And then Maxwell Harrison, Tre'Davious White is back. So we'll see how that works. I think Tre'Davious coming back is more so, veteran presence, morale uplift kind of situation. Jamarcus Ingram, and then Daquan Hardy, and then you got Teron Johnson, Cam Lewis, and Takori Couch. As far as special teams, Tyler Bass. Bass, I rock with you, but last season you had people really upset, really upset. Jake Camarda, and then Brandon Codrington and Reed Ferguson for your long snapper, and that's of course your special teams there. All right, let me hop into the chat the before we get into the schedule. Shout out to you, Sassy. I appreciate you. Happy 4th to all of you guys. Happy 4th. Says this might be a crazy division when it's mid-season. I feel like we always say that, Jonas. Jonas says every one of these teams got a little bit better. Can't wait for the rival games between these teams. All around sports says Jake, welcome back. Good to see you. Good to see you. This receiving core is pretty sad. Allen's going to need to play crazy again. That's what it's been, right? Even when it was Stephon Diggs, even when it was Gabe Davis, Josh Allen had to play lights out. And even now, the same kind of situation goes. But I do feel like you're going to have Keon Coleman step up a little bit more this year. We know that Khalil Shakir is talented. We did lose Amari Cooper, right? I do think that he was good for the moment, but he just didn't do enough to, I think, really resonate and stay with the team. So now you're expecting Joshua Palmer to ball out. You're expecting Curtis Samuel to basically, pick up the pace as well. Laviska Shenault and KJ Hamler, I'm not sure we'll even see those guys when it comes to making the final roster. So, once again, yeah, you're completely right. So tight ends, Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, who's going to step up there? Who's going to do what? Because we know that Dalton and Kincaid hasn't done the best that we expected him to do. And, you get what you get with Dawson Knox, right? So I do think you're right. Josh Allen is going to be in the same kind of situation that he has been time in and time out, having to play Superman because of a few reliable wide receivers. But then when they're locked down, Josh Allen has to figure it out. But hey, that's what he's been doing. So we'll have to see how that works out coming into this season. All Around Sports says the defense is a lot better this year. I love the picks of Jackson and Sanders. Yes, I do think Bean did pretty good. I can't say great yet because we haven't really seen much on the field yet. I will say that he did good. The big thing this year obviously wasn't offense. It was not offense. We know that. It was more so defense. So, I do think that Bean has made some mistakes. We know that he has. But coming into this season, I do think there were some solid pickups as far as offense between this year and last year, or defense between this year and last year that's going to benefit what the Bills do in this season. So let's go ahead and get into shout out to you, Rebel. Let's go ahead and get into the schedule. All right, so for preseason, I know some of you guys probably can't see this, but I got to scroll down here. Preseason will start on August 9th for the Bills, or start with the Giants. Then they'll get into August 17th, which is against the Bears, and then August 23rd, Tampa Bay. I will be streaming all these games, just so you guys know. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you lock it in and follow. I will be streaming all these games as far as with the Bills, so make sure you lock it in. And then as far as regular season, they're starting off the regular season September 7th on Sunday at 8. This will be a Sunday night football game against the Baltimore Ravens. This is going to be as good as you get, right? You're starting off very strong against Baltimore, and this is going to be a payback game for them because we know that, Baltimore lost against the Bills to go to the AFC championship. Then obviously they'll go against the Jets, an AFC East divisional rival. After that's to Miami. So you got back-to-back divisional rival games between September 14th and September 18th against the Jets and the Dolphins. After that, it's going to be New Orleans. Who's the quarterback over there? What's going on with the Saints right now? They got some crazy quarterback situations going over there. After that, you've got the Patriots, another divisional rival game in week 5. Then you'll get into the Falcons for week 6. That'll be, it looks like, a Monday night football game. And I'm assuming on week 6 that's going to be like a doubleheader because that game is at 7:15. So there must be another game at 8 as well that night for Monday, October 13th. Week 7 is going to be a bye week for the Bills. Week 8, they'll go against the Panthers. Week 9, they'll go against Kansas City, the Chiefs, then back against Miami, then Tampa Bay, Houston, then the Steelers, Bengals, Patriots again, the Browns, the Eagles, which is what they'll basically wrap up the season with, and then week 18 will be a flex game against the Jets. So, Baltimore is going to be tricky. This obviously comes down to what's going on with this defense and how well they're going to be in sync. Because I tell you this is going to be a payback game for Baltimore. They're going to be playing tough. And, I do think this is a 50-50 game for sure, without a doubt. It's going to be a 50-50 game just like it was. We know that if Andrews catches that pass in that playoff game, the whole dynamic changes. And yes, you could argue that the Bills still would have had time to come back down and score. But I do think this is definitely going to be a 50-50 game. Obviously, I'm leaning towards my Bills just because they did get the better of it. And, they're going to be at home. So there you go. They'll be at home. You get that Bills at home vibe. After that's going to be the Jets, Justin Fields, right? We're going to get into that later as far as what I expect from the Jets. This is tricky, right? We know that Justin Fields likes to run, and the Bills defense has had trouble with, running quarterbacks and, these guys in the ground. And then of course, with the Jets, I do feel like Justin Fields is going to have some talent to work with. Not saying that he really didn't with the Steelers, but I do feel like you got a little bit more of a veteran presence that can help him out and get him in the direction that he needs to go with the Jets. So I do feel like this will be a good game, but I'm still going to give that to the Bills. Starting off 2-0. Going into Miami, Tua Tagovailoa. Now this, it gets a little tricky because New York's going to put up a fight. So, are they going to be able to soften up these Bills heading into or playing against Miami? Well, you got Miami against the Bills at home, and we know that Miami gets smacked on the road against the Bills. And don't let there be any snow on the ground. don't let there be any snow on the ground because that could end up pretty bad. So I don't think it's going to be the snow on the ground in September. We know the snow comes in Buffalo in October on. But yeah, I'm going to take the Bills there as well against Miami. They do terrible on the road against the Bills. But sometimes they make it a good game. So we'll see how it goes. After that's going to be New Orleans. So, I'm really not looking at the Saints in any kind of way right now as far as having any kind of opportunity to put, any kind of situation together as far as with their quarterback problem right now. We'll get into that later. So I'm taking the Bills against New Orleans. New England, this is where I do think it gets tricky. Drake May, Stephon Diggs, that New England defense, key pickups there. The running game is decent. This is where things could get tricky on a Sunday night. New England coming into Buffalo. All eyes are going to be on this one as well. I do think as much as it's easy to say, oh yeah, they're just going to, go out there and beat New England. This could be one of those trap games for sure heading into week 6 against Atlanta. So you get back-to-back prime time games, obviously Sunday night football and then Monday night football. So that game could be a 50-50 for me. Shout out to you all around. And then obviously coming into Atlanta, right? Michael Penix and company. I'm not too sure as far as what to expect from the Falcons, but I am going to give my Bills the benefit of the doubt on that one as well. So they'll take the Falcons, get into the bye week in week 7. Panthers. Listen, my Panthers fans, I like Bryce Young, but for some reason, I just don't think he's the man for the job. And I feel like the Panthers picks these quarterbacks and puts them into the worst case scenario. Bryce Young can't see over the line. So he's got to drop back about 10 yards and let the play develop before he can even see who to throw to. But by the time that happens, he's damn near getting sacked. So, I just don't think that the Panthers are going to be a good team. I could be completely wrong, and I know the Panthers fans are going to get mad at me. But listen, I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think you guys need a taller quarterback who knows, what they're doing, that can see over that line. That's just me being honest. I'm gonna give the Bills that one. Kansas City. Yeah, this is where once again it turns into the nightmare. We know that the Bills will win in the regular season. That's just how it goes, but they lose when it matters the most in the postseason. So I don't even care about this game because, yeah, the Bills will win it, but it doesn't matter down the road. So, yeah, we'll just give it to them because they'll win it. Back to Miami. Maybe we'll see a situation where they swap, right? Bills take week 3, lose in week 10, right? Especially after a hard-fought Kansas City game to prove a point. So yeah, I'll give that one to Miami. Week 11, Tampa Bay. I like what I've been seeing out of Tampa Bay, right? Baker Mayfield is a new Baker Mayfield. He is shining. He is in his element. Got a new contract. Got something to prove down there. Mike Evans still balling out. So yeah, I do think that Tampa Bay is going to put up a strong fight. 50-50 on this one, but I will obviously side with the Bills. Pittsburgh. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the end of Mike Tomlin. I don't care how many winning seasons you got. I think this will be the one that will end Mike Tomlin. But hey, Aaron Rodgers, we know this is probably his last year. And unfortunately for Mike Tomlin, I think that both of them will be walking out of the door. So yeah, there you go. I'm going to Bills that one as well. Cincinnati, is this going to be the year where Joe Burrow comes back and does something? Because he's been kind of, obviously we know he was coming off the injury last year. Is this going to be the year where Joe Burrow actually steps up and gets his team back in order? We know that Jamar Chase is pissed off. We know that he's looking around like, hey, what's going on? Right? Hendrickson, what's going on? Right? So there's a lot going on there as well, but I do think this will be a good one. The Bengals do have the Bills number sometimes. So, I'm going to say, all right, Joe may come back this year and, put up a strong fight. So I'll give the Bengals that one. Week 7. Week 14 against New England. I'm going to give that one to the Bills. The Browns. Shout out to you, Sassy. I know you got the Browns family members. The Browns, Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, who's going to be starting in week 16. We're so far ahead that I really couldn't even tell you what to expect from Cleveland. So I think this is an automatic from the Bills. Week 17, the Eagles. This is where trouble comes. Because Philadelphia balling out, and I don't think even if the Bills would have made it to the Super Bowl last year, they would not have beat the Eagles. As a Bills fan, I can say that because I'm not biased. I do think that it would have been a real challenge for the Bills to beat the Eagles, and they would not have won that game. They would have not been able to stop Saquon Barkley. It would have been a complete nightmare, no matter how talented Josh Allen is, no matter how much he would have tried to will the Bills to a victory. It just would not have happened. It would have been a hell of a game for sure, but the Eagles' defense, offense was just off the charts last year, and I think they're going to be rolling with that same kind of consistency coming into this year, especially later into the season when it matters the most. Yeah. Definitely, I think the Eagles will take that one. And then week 18, obviously to be determined, the Jets. So, yeah, it's the Jets. All right, let me hop into the chat. Shout out to you, Sassy. All Around says, Tampa is a scary team. I cover them on my channel. They're even more scarier when TB12 was there. Of course. But Baker Mayfield is no Tom Brady. We give Baker Mayfield credit, but he is no Tom Brady. Shout out to Freebooter says, go Broncos. Right? Bo Nix. I like it. Lick says, I think the Bills lose the regular season Chiefs game. I mean, they just had it. When you go back and look at the numbers, the Bills have had their number every time in the regular season. Dolphins beat the Bills. LMFAO. Dolphins fans kept saying that last year. What happened? Listen, it's always a question mark. You can never take for granted a divisional rival game. You just can't do it. You can't do it. Anything can happen. Uh, Shout out to you, Amy. What up? Happy fourth. Happy fourth. In the building. Let's go. Sassy says, when I see Joe Burrow, he always reminds me of Brian from the movie Half Baked. Yo, that's hilarious. Sportsman says Bills taking the Lombardi into the new stadium. Listen, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, without a doubt. But I think the biggest problem is this: when you look at the opportunities that the Bills have had over the years, they should have been there. They should have been there, and that is the reality of it for me. So, where do I see the Bills coming out of this one for for the season of 2025? I see there being some challenges. I see there being some struggles. I do see them having another winning season. My big problem, the big problem that I have with this is whether or not we are going to see a Bills team that is going to be cohesive, a Bills team that is actually going to be structured, a Sean McDermott that is actually going to know how to step up in significant moments and learn how to play chess instead of checkers. A Sean McDermott that's actually going to be able to go out there and be a little bit risky when it matters, when it matters the most, and not play conservative and safe, and then have to show up at the end of the game and try to win. Then I would like to see a little bit more aggression coming into this season. I think that's what I would like to see out of Sean McDermott coming into the 2025 NFL season, because the Bills are going to need it. And I would like to see just overall chemistry, right? I think we've seen the start of that last season. Coming into this one, that's what's going to be needed for this team to excel when it matters the most. Sure, you'll have a regular season, a good regular season. You'll get an AFC East championship. We've seen that. We've done that. Let's move on from it. And then let's show up in the postseason and go out there and at least get to a chip. At least get to it. At least get to it. So there you go for the Bills. Next up is going to be Miami Dolphins. But before I get to that, we'll get to the chat. Interesting things. What up, man? It says, much love, Jay. Go Panthers and the Bills. I see you. I see you. Lick says, I just say Chiefs win because they're practically divisional rivals at this point. I think the Chiefs are due. I think the big problem for the Chiefs are, everyone rides a wave. And I think the Chiefs are starting to come down from that wave. Now, that's not to say that they're not talented, because they are. That's not to say that they're not going to ball out, because they will. But I do think there's going to be some moments that will raise eyebrows this season, and start to see some weaknesses in that Chiefs defense and offense for sure, without a doubt. Bills and Eagles in the Super Bowl this year. I mean, it'll be crazy. It'll definitely be crazy for sure. So let me hop in this real quick, and then we will get over to our Dolphins next. We say this every year about KC, just for them to magically end up in the Super Bowl. I mean, we do. Shout out to you, Michelle. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to you, Michelle. Wrench Gang, hold it down. All right, let's get into Miami. Okay, so depth chart. Tua Tagovailoa, Zach Wilson, Quinn Ewers, and then Brett Gabbert. Then on the running, you've got Devon Achane, Jalen Wright, Alexander Madison, and Ali Gordon II. For your wide receivers, Mr. Ever, I'm going to keep talking shit all the time against the Bills, Tyreek Hill, Malik Washington, Taj Washington, and then Andrew Armstrong. For your wide receivers, you got Jalen Waddle, D. Eskridge, Tariq Black, and then Monterey Baldwin, Nick Westbrook Akine, Eric Azukanma, and Theo Weiss Jr. Then as far as Darren Waller's back, y'all. Who thought of that? Like, who would have known that Darren Waller would come out of retirement to come back to the Dolphins? That's really interesting. I think he's on a 2-year or a 1-year deal. Someone could correct me. I think I'm thinking of like a 1 year or 2 year deal. But Darren Waller's back out of retirement. Julian Hill, Farrell Brown, and then Tanner Connor for your tight ends. Fullback is Alec Ingold. Left tackle, Patrick Paul. James Daniel for your left guard. Aaron Brewer, right guard. Jonah Seviena. Listen, if I butchered that, I'm sorry. And then right tackle is Austin Jackson. For your Miami Dolphins defense, you got Kenneth Grant, Benito Jones, Zach Sealer, Jalen Phillips, Tyrell Dotson, Jordan Brooks, Bradley Chubb, Storm Duck, Ashton Davis, Mika Fitzpatrick, Jason Marshall Jr., and Kadir Kaho. As far as your special teams, you got Jason Sanders, Ryan Stonehouse, Malik Washington, and then Joe Cardona as your long snapper. Shout out to Michelle says I'm late to the stream. Go Bills. Happy 4th to everyone. Yes, happy 4th to all of you. All right, let's get over to the schedule. So let's talk about this. And before we get into it, I do think that Miami is in this weird spot for a couple of reasons, right? We know that Tua Tagovailoa had the concussion issues and the injury issues. And so now, you're hoping and praying that he doesn't get hit. It happened 4 or 5 times, and from the fans to his family to staff, coaching, I do feel like everyone had the thought that he may move on and he may retire. And so he came back and said, no, I'm not retiring. This is what I love to do. I understand the risks. So I'm going to go out there and play the game that I love. And I'm going to stay here and continue on that. So on one part of me, right? On one part of me, I respect it. I do. And then on the other side, it's like, I kind of don't, because I feel like you're putting yourself at risk. And if you look at what would happen in a worst case scenario, you're setting your family up to have to deal with that, to have to go through the motions of that. And, it's really unfortunate, because if something does happen, we all have to sit back and look at it like, well, he chose the game over his health. So, I do think that at the end of the day, it's an ego thing, and I hope he does well. I hope he doesn't go out on that field and get hurt more than what he already has. I hope that he's taking the necessary precautions to get better on the field. I hope that he's taking the necessary precautions to, if it's not there, obviously, just, hey, throw it away or just get down, avoid the hits, because nobody wants to see Tua Tagovailoa get hurt coming into this new season. With that said, let's get into the schedule. 2025, week 1, they're going against the Colts. Week 2, they're going against New England. Then, of course, the Bills for week 3. They'll get into the Jets week 4. You've got 3 back-to-back divisional rival games, which is absolutely crazy. Then week 5, you'll get into the Panthers. Week 6 is going to be the Chargers. Week 7 is going to be against the Browns. Week 8 against the Falcons. Week 9 against the Ravens. Week 10 against Buffalo. Week 11 against the Commanders. There's an asterisk on this, so it looks like that may be a flex game. This is going to be an international game at 9:30 a.m. Week 12 is going to be a bye week. Week 13 is going to be against the Saints. Week 14 against the Jets. Week 15 against the Steelers. Week 16 against the Bengals. Week 17 against the Buccaneers. And then week 18, they'll finish up against the New England Patriots. For your preseason, they'll go against the Bears August 10th, week 1. They'll then go against the Lions week 2, August 16th, and then they'll play against the Jaguars. They'll be playing against Jacksonville August 23rd. That'll be week 3 preseason. Shout out to Dean, says Tua is trash, and I'm a Dolphins fan. That's tough. That's tough. Listen, here's the thing. So the problem is, I think Tua has a great arm, right? He has a great arm. He tries to be mobile, but when we look at his ability to be accurate, I think that's the problem. Too much reliance on Tyreek Hill, not really balancing the ball around. And you can accredit most of that to, offensive coordinating and Mike McDaniel. going to the well too many times, right? I think that's kind of the situation that puts Tua in those scenarios where he has to hold the ball too long and it leads to a lot of missed opportunities. Maybe that's something that the Dolphins will change coming into, next season. We'll see. Um, but yeah, I mean, as far as where I look at their schedule, Anthony Richardson, right? Him having the problems and issues that he has as far as, being injured. Colts, I give him the Colts on that one. New England, I think New England's going to be a challenge for the Dolphins, but I do feel like that'll be more of an even game. I do think that'd be more of an even game, so I'll lean more to um, the England on the New England Patriots on that one. Buffalo at Buffalo, I got to go Bills on that one. They'll get into the Jets, Justin Fields, that defense. I think this is another evenly matched up one as well. So I'll lean more to the Jets for week 4. Week 5 against the Panthers, I'll give them week 5. I do think that defense is going to be strong against Bryce Young. Week 6 against the Chargers, Justin Herbert. He's for some reason Justin Herbert's very streaky. But when he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's off. So it's a 50-50 for me there. But I do think that the Chargers defense is going to be strong against Tua once again. They're very good pass rush. So I'm going to take Chargers there. Week 7 against the Browns. Crazy. Week 7 against the Browns, I'll take Miami. Week 8 against the Falcons, I'll go Miami there as well. Week 9 against Baltimore, I'm going to take Baltimore. Week 10 against the Bills. Like I said, it could be a swap. Divisional rival games are always tricky, so I'll give Miami an edge here just because I know the Bills will take them at home. Week 11, Commanders. I'll take the Commanders there. They're going to the bye week 12. Week 13, the Saints. Like I said, I just don't understand what the Saints are going to do with their quarterback problem, so I'll take Miami against the Saints there. Week 14 against the Jets. Could it be a swap? I'll take a swap there. So then we'll give that one to Miami. Week 15 against the Steelers. You've got Aaron Rodgers, Tua Tagovailoa. It's a Monday night game. We know how Aaron Rodgers does under the lights, and this could be the end of his road. So I'll give the Steelers there as far as that being the end of the season game. Cincinnati Bengals. I'm gonna take the Bengals on week 16. Tampa Bay week 17. And then week 18 is going to be probably a flex game. New England. I don't know. It's bad. It's really bad. I do think that they have some opportunities starting off in the season. But when it gets to like week 6, from week 6 to about, to their bye, they're in trouble. You've got the Chargers. You've got the Browns. You've got the Falcons. Then you run into the Ravens, the Bills, and then the Commanders. You get a little bit of a break. You come back against the Saints, so you do get a breather there. Then you've got the Jets. Then you're smacked back into the Steelers, Bengals, Tampa Bay. Yeah, I think they're in trouble. So, let's see here. Dean says Tua is trash, and I'm a Dolphins fan. Bills will never win a Super Bowl. That's crazy. He has the weakest arm in the NFL. MB Force says, wait, did I hear that right? Great arm, not accurate. His arm is very average too in accuracy, and his great accuracy is his greatest attribute. So when you look at Tua, I look at his arm strength as his greatest attribute, not his accuracy. Now the problem with when you look at the chemistry as far as with him and Tyreek, they've built up that over the years, right? Jalen Waddle is on the short pass, and you obviously look at Tyreek Hill for the long pass. But when anybody else goes for the long pass, they're not catching that ball. So that's why I say that his accuracy is iffy, to me at least. That's in my opinion, because when he throws the ball to anybody else on the long ball, it doesn't get there. Now that could be, attributed more to Tyreek Hill having that speed and, the expectation of him being down there in the field, being able to catch the ball. But that's the only person that he goes to when it comes to the long ball. He goes to anybody else, that ball's getting dropped, picked off, or whatever. Shout out to you, Dean. Chris Hall, what up, man? It's good to see you back, Jay. You look younger this year. I've been putting a little bit of work. A little bit of work. Tyrone says Big T in the check-in. Shout out to you, Big T in the building. MB4 says that's not accuracy, though. That's lack of arm strength. So, I mean, we could look at it two different ways. Because if you say it's lack of arm strength, why is Tyreek Hill, having the ability to get down that field and catch the ball, but other people aren't? Right? Because if Tyreek Hill has the speed to get down there and catch it, but Jalen Waddle may not, because it's either underthrown or overthrown. So do we put that on Jalen Waddle? Or do we put that on somebody else that's down there? I'm just saying. I think he has a great arm as far as for strength and less accuracy. You feel like he has more accuracy and less arm strength. So we'll just leave it there. We'll agree to disagree. Shout out to Lisa. Says, hey, Jay, happy birthday, America. And my birthday is in 2 weeks from today. Shout out to you, Lisa. Yes, happy 4th of July to all of you watching. Shout out to you all. Hey, listen, if you're watching, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, make sure you hit that like, that thumbs up, heart, whatever it is. And, of course, follow, subscribe, do all that good stuff. As we prepare to get into preseason football, I do stream the games as well, so make sure you guys lock it in. All right, next up, the Jets. We'll get into the Jets depth chart for these Jets. All right, so as far as for quarterback, you've got Justin Fields, second, Tyrod Taylor, Adrian Martinez on the third, and then Brady Cook on the fourth. For your running backs, you got Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, and Kene Nwangwu. Then for your wide receivers, you got Garrett Wilson, Malachi Corley, Xavier Gibson, and then Pokey Wilson. Second, it's going to be Josh Reynolds, Arian Smith, Irvin Charles, and then Demir Miller. Then you've got Alan Lazard, Tyler Johnson, Brandon Smith, and then Jamal Pritchett. For your tight ends, you got Mason Taylor, Jeremy Rickert, Stone Smart, Zach Kuntz. And then for your fullback, Andrew Beck, left tackle, Olu Fashanu, left guard, John Simpson, center, Joe Tipman, right guard, Elijah Vera Tucker, right tackle, Armand Mimbo. For your defense, Will McDonald, Derek Nandi, Quinnen Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Jamin Davis, Jamian Sherwood, Quincy Williams, Sauce Gardner, Tony Adams, Andre Sisco, Brandon Stevens, Michael Carter II. And then for your special teams, you got Caden Davis, Austin McNamara again, of course, Xavier Gibson, and then Thomas Hennessy for your long snapper. Tyler, what up, man? Shout out to you, bro. Good to see you. All right. Says even his long balls to Tyreek are underthrown often. All right, you know what? I'm gonna really study some of his highlights. I'm gonna go back through it. Because you might be right. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm just saying from my experience and what I've been seeing and me been streaming these games and putting in 2 million hours of work over on YouTube. From what I've been seeing in the games I've been streaming, I think he's got a good arm strength. I think the accuracy is the problem. But hey, like I said, we'll agree to disagree. So yeah, now we're on to the Jets. So week 1 is going to be against the Steelers. Week 2 is against the Bills. Week 3 against Tampa Bay. Week 4 against Miami. Week 5 against Dallas. Week 6 against Denver. Week 7 against Carolina. Week 8 against the Bengals. They're going to the bye week, week 9. Week 11 is going to be against the Patriots. Week 12 against the Ravens. Week 13, Falcons. Week 14, Miami. Week 15, Jaguars. 16 against the Saints, week 17 against New England, and then Buffalo in week 18. Preseason, week 1 is going to be Green Bay. Week 2 is the Giants, and then week 3 will be against the Philadelphia Eagles. So you know what? I'm noticing a trend here in some of these schedules for the AFC East. There's a lot of parity, a really good mix, right? Week 1's going to be a battle. You got Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, You've got a decent defense, and the Jets. You've got a decent defense or a strong defense actually with the Steelers. I think this could be a very very good game. Who's going to come out strong, right? Aaron Rodgers, sure, trying to turn it up for Week 1. Justin Fields with something to prove in Week 1 as well. This could be a battle. I will once again though. I'm gonna give Aaron, a little bit of an edge here, just because so much more to prove coming over to Pittsburgh, and plus you've got a little bit more of a I want to say better defense going up against that running quarterback in Justin Fields. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh in Week 1 against the Jets. There, Week 2, obviously, the Bills take that one. Week 3, Tampa Bay. Someone's like, "Yo, Jay, you're saying an 0-3 start for the Jets?" This is what it's looking like. They'll go against Miami. Like I said, I think they do swap, so I would give the Jets that one. Then going against Dallas. What's going on with Dak Prescott? We haven't got there yet, but we'll get into that as the days go by. Dallas, I think their defense isn't what it was, and I think this is going to be a very interesting one to see. It's one of those shocker games where shout out to you, Jonas. I think this would be one of those shocker games where everyone's like sitting there like, damn, the Dallas Cowboys are losing by 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. I think it's going to be one of those kind of games. So I'll give the Jets benefit of the doubt in that one. It'll be very interesting. If it happens the way that I said it and y'all remember it, make sure you come back and leave it in the chat, because I'm definitely hitting people with that I told you so. Week 6 against Denver. Bo Nix. I think Denver is going to ball out on this one for sure, so I'll take Denver in that one. Week 7, I'll give the Jets this one against the Panthers. Week 8 against the Bengals. Like I said, if Joe Burrow's coming back and he's playing lights out, I think the Bengals are definitely going to be back in the conversation. So I'll take Cincinnati in that one. Jets will have a bye week in Week 9. Week 10, you'll get into the Browns. This is a tricky one. I think it's a 50-50 game. I think they'll go back and forth, but I will give the edge to the Jets in that one. Week 11 against New England. Once again, Drake May, Stephon Diggs. Can they link up? Can they build that chemistry? We'll get into them next. I'm gonna take New England in that one for Week 11. Week 12, Baltimore. I think without a doubt, Ravens going to take this one. Week 13, Falcons. This could be a toss-up game, but I'll take the Jets in that one. I'm comfortable with that. Week 14 against Miami. Like I said, I think they may swap, so I think the Jets will take that one. Week 15 against the Jags. I'm going to give the Jags the benefit of the doubt and take them there. Week 16 against New Orleans. I have no hope. I have no hope for the Saints. So, yeah, go ahead. We'll give it to the Jets. Week 17, New England. Like I said, they'll probably swap, so we'll give the Jets that one. And then they'll wrap it up Week 18 against the Bills. So there you go. I think this is a bomb year. I think this is a bomb year for the Jets. As much as I do feel like Justin Fields can have his moments, I'm just not sure he is a starting quarterback. I think he's a very good backup. I just don't think he's a starting quarterback. So I think this will be the year for the Jets to bomb again, so they can get a decent quarterback in the draft. So, but I see you, Tyrone. I hate to say it, but that's just what I'm thinking. Shout out to you, Tyler. Happy 4th, man. Happy 4th. What's your take with Cooper Rush and the purple and black? Hey, I like it. I think Cooper Rush was taken advantage of. I don't think he was appreciated with the Cowboys, right? When he was tasked with stepping up, he definitely did. When he was tasked with, coming out there and balling out when Dak Prescott went down, I think he did fairly well. Now, that's not to say that he's a solid starting quarterback. I think he is a great and an excellent backup for sure. So yeah, I like Cooper Rush without a doubt. So, yeah, as far as the Jets, though, I'm just like I said, I don't think they're really going to do much next season, and that's not to say that they don't have talent on the team, because they do. I think the problem with this team is they don't really have an identity. Nobody's scared of them. Nobody's worried about the Jets. The third in the AFC East. And it's been the same kind of situation that we've seen over the years. I mean, it's Bills, Dolphins, New England, Jets. Bills, Dolphins, New England, Jets. And so, it's kind of shaping up to be the same kind of situation, except maybe, New England may shake things up as we get into them next. So yeah, I think this is a bomb year for the Jets. I think they, tank to go ahead and get, high pick. They need a quarterback. They need a franchise quarterback, someone that's actually going to get the job done. And they're going to have to reshape this team after Aaron Rodgers left because they have no identity. So there you go. There you go. Really unfortunate. But that's just how I feel. There we go. So New England Patriots, fourth in the AFC East. But could this be the change? Could this be the year for the Patriots? That historical, legendary franchise once led by Tom Brady. Can this team change things around with this quarterback who has so much promise, with this team who has so much cap space and so much money to spend? Can they figure it out this year? Well, let's talk about it. All right, Drake May for your quarterback, Joshua Dobbs on the second, Ben Woldridge on the third, followed by your running backs from Andre Stevenson, Trevayon Henderson, Antonio Gibson, and then Trevayon Williams. As far as wide receivers, you got Stephon Diggs, Mac Hollins, who came over for the Bills. I don't like that when they go from a divisional rival over and then to stay in the division. If you gonna leave, go somewhere else. Don't stay in the divisional rival team. Because then I'm looking at you all strange. I was just rooting for you last year, and now I can't root for you. I gotta look at you all strange. Then you got Jalen Polk and then John Giles. As far as your wide receivers, you got Demario Douglas, Keyshawn Butte, Devon Baker, and then Demir Bland Cumsey. As for your wide receiver, third wide receiver, you've got Kyle Williams, Kendrick Bourne, Efton Chisholm III, and then Jeremiah Webb. Tight end, ever so reliable, Hunter Henry. He is what you see is what you get. He has been consistent his whole career. This is what I do, and this is what you're gonna get. I'm gonna catch it in a good moment and get you a first down. That's Hunter Henry. Shout out to Hunter Henry. Then you got Austin Hooper, Jaheim Bell, and then Jack Westover. Fullback Brock Lampy, Will Campbell for your left tackle, Cole Strange for your left guard, Garrett Granberry for your center, Michael Winu for your right guard, and then Morgan Moses for the right tackle. As far as for your defense, Milton Williams, Kairos Tonga, Christian Barmore, Harold Landry III, Christian Ellis, Robert Spillane, Anthony Jennings, Carlton Davis III, Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers, Christian Gonzalez, and Marcus Jones. I feel like this defense should be decent. I feel like they should do okay. And then, of course, special teams, you got Andy Burgalis, Bryce Behringer, Marcus Jones, Antonio Gibson, and then Julian Ashby. And that is your depth chart for the Patriots. As far as your schedule, getting into preseason, you've got the Commanders week 1, August 8th. You've got the Vikings week 2, August 16th. And then the New York Giants, August 21st. That's week 3. And then as far as your regular season, they'll start off against the Raiders for week 1. Week 2, they'll go against Miami. Week 3, the Steelers. Week 4, the Panthers. Week 5, the Bills. Week 6, the Saints. Week 7, they'll go against the Titans. Week 8, the Browns. Week 9, Falcons. Week 10, the Buccaneers. Week 11, the Jets. Week 12, Bengals. Week 13, the Giants. They'll have their bye week 14. That's crazy. They had a lot of games for their bye. Week 14, they'll take their bye. Then they'll go against Buffalo, the Ravens, and then the Jets and Miami. This is a crazy looking schedule. They're taking their bye way in week 14. Like there's no breaks, just straight football, hard football from week 1 to week 13. So yeah, Raiders, very interesting. I think the Raiders are going to be a strong team coming into this season. Now, the thing about New England is I feel like they're going to be a hidden gem coming in. One of those sneaky teams that people really aren't going to be paying much attention to. They're hearing the noise, but really not. It's the Patriots. I do think this could be one of those sneak games. They start off very strong. I'll take the Patriots in this one. Week 2 against Miami. I do feel like this is going to be a really good game. Divisional rivals. This is week 2, early divisional rival game. I am going to give Miami the benefit of the doubt here. They're at home. Depending on, how that weather is in Miami, this could, be significant for the Patriots. We know that the colder teams struggle in Miami because they like to bake. They like to bake the colder teams when it's hot down there, put them right in the sun. So I'll take Miami there. After that, they'll go against the Steelers. I think this will be a good one, right? Once again, Drake May coming out strong, decent team. Aaron Rodgers, week 3 with the Steelers. I'll take the New England Patriots there, though. I will take them there, as you're gonna have Pittsburgh coming up to face them. Week 4 against the Panthers. I'm sorry, Panthers fans. I just don't see it happening. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Patriots there against the Bills. It's gonna be a loss against the Bills. They'll win against the Saints. Panthers and Saints is bad. Titans. Hey, what's Cam Ward gonna do? Anybody know? What's Cam Ward gonna do? We'll see. This is a toss-up for me because I really don't know what's going on with the Titans yet. We really gotta break things down. I don't know if it looks promising yet. Shout out to you, Tennessee Tactical. I don't know if it's promising yet. So I'm gonna give the edge to the Patriots, obviously, unless I see something great between week 1 and week 6. Week 8 against the Browns, I think the Patriots there. Week 9 against Atlanta. I think this is gonna be a strong one. I think this will be a strong one. They'll be playing against Atlanta there. I'm going to take the Falcons here. This will be a pivot moment. And then I'm going to take the Buccaneers as well coming into week 10. Week 11, I will take the Patriots on week 11 because, like I said, I feel like they will swap. Week 12 against the Bengals. Like I said, if Joe Burrow's, if this is going to be the comeback year for Joe Burrow, this would be it. So I'll take Cincinnati there. They'll play against the Giants. Shout out to Tommy Cutlets. Yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots against the Giants. They're in shambles too. Russell Wilson, we'll talk about it later. Week 14 is a bye week. Week 15 against the Bills. Bills are going to take that one. Week 16 against the Ravens. I do think the Ravens will take this in week 16. Week 17, like I said, they'll probably swap with the Jets. So then I'll give the Jets the benefit of the doubt there. And then obviously the flex game against my week 18 against Miami. I think they'll take the win there as well. So there you go. Shout out to you, Robert. What up, man? Tyrone says, you think Diggs ain't gonna bring it to the Bills? He's bitter. Ooh. That's you know what? I like the hype around it. But we didn't see him bring any bitterness against the Bills last year with the Texans. Matter of fact, he didn't bring the bitterness at all because he wasn't playing. I don't think he can have any bitterness at this point. He was supposed to have the bitterness last year. I think this year he's just playing to survive, right? He's playing to keep his name, keep his check, and I'm not worried about Diggs. I'm not worried about Diggs. Now I will say this. He'll have his moments, but as far as with the Bills, I'm not worried about it. Shout out to you, Mr. Kojak. Yeah, man. So yeah, the season's right around the corner for sure. Shout out to you, Robert. Michelle says, I'm watching where my college kids are going. Justin Fields is going to be great. Give him time. Listen, I'm not hating on Justin Fields. I do think that he's a good quarterback, and he's a good mobile quarterback. But I feel like he's one of the quarterbacks that still needs more time, right? And I'm not talking like 5 years from now time, like maybe a couple more years to just get, more refined, get a good system, get some good chemistry, and have that ability to really get a team of his own. If the Jets is that team, hey, cool. I don't think it is, just because of the scheme and just because of the offensive design and the expectations of that Jets franchise. New York is an unforgiving market, whether you're on the Giants or the Jets. So if you don't figure things out fast, if you don't figure things out fast in a New York environment, they will spit you up, chew you up and spit you out. So, if he's going to do it, he's got to do it fast, because if he doesn't, it's going to be over. It's going to be over pretty fast for sure. Says when you put it that way, yes, he may not be a fit with the Jets. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I just don't think he's a fit. You know, and like I said, it's not to discredit his talent, because I do feel like he is talented. I just think it's with every quarterback, right? They can be completely terrible in one specific scheme or one specific environment, and then they'll go somewhere else and they'll completely ball out. And we see it all the time. We see it all the time. And so, I think Justin Fields is one of those quarterbacks. Like, with the Bears, obviously that didn't work out. Um, I don't think he had the freedom that he wanted, and I don't think he had the coaching that he needed, and we know that he didn't, because he complained about it. So the same kind of situation as far as with the Jets. These are storied franchises that are kind of stuck in their ways, and so for me, I think the opportunity with Justin Fields is he's going to have to be molded around, opposed to brought in and expected to adhere to what's going on with the team. So yeah, I think you have to put Justin Fields in a running scheme and allow him to kind of be free and do what he does. So we'll see. We'll see. I think Fields will bring a better chance for the Jets to have a winning season. Um, from an athletic point of view and being able to stay out on the field and avoid injuries, sure. Without a doubt, I agree with that. Right? You're not dealing with another Aaron Rodgers situation, 100%. But you are dealing with a younger quarterback who doesn't have a lot of winning experience, and so I think people don't look at younger quarterbacks like that, because you'll take a Joe Burrow, you'll take a Josh Allen, you'll take a Patrick Mahomes, you'll take any one of those quarterbacks and look at it from a point of, these are winning quarterbacks and they understand how to win. Um, Opposed to a quarterback, or younger quarterback who simply can win but hasn't been developed with that winner's attitude yet. So there you go. There you go. Shout out to you, B Beck. B Becky 78. Let's go. So there you go. There you go. Like I said, the Patriots, as we wrap this up, I do think that the Patriots will be interesting to see. A lot of hype, a lot of money over there as far as with that, with the cap. Stephon Diggs obviously going over there. We'll see. We'll see. Can they link up? We'll see. So with that said, I do appreciate you all. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, if you're on TikTok, make sure you do, of course, hit that heart, and of course, follow, subscribe, do all that stuff. You guys know how to do it. We'll be back covering each division as the days goes on. I'll keep you guys updated with each team. And we'll then get into preseason. I'll be streaming all the games there as we get started. And then we'll get into the football season. We'll get into the football season and start streaming there. If you are a boxing fan, we've got Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor on July 11th. And then we've got the Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fights in September. That's September 13th. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's in September. So if you like that, make sure you lock it in. And of course, subscribe. We'll be covering those. And then we got college football coming too. So we got a lot of stuff coming. I'm back 100%. I'm ready. I'm focused. I'm excited. And I appreciate all of you guys for rocking with us today. Hey, listen, it's July 4th. It's July 4th. Red, white, and blue. Enjoy your day. Be safe. Have fun. Don't drink and drive. And I appreciate all you guys. Have yourself a great holiday. And I will see you guys on the next one. So make sure you lock it in. Peace.